to Cadwell Park. My name is Sasha Pearl and we're here for the Design911.com Porsche Championships. Now we have two classes running. We have the 924s and we have the Boxsters. And we have a certain chap called Dave Clark who has won all of the races so far. So Richard, let's see how they go on in round 5.
Thanks very much, Sasha. Before we get on with round 5, let's see where the standings are after 4 rounds of the Design911.com Porsche Championship. And it's Dave Clark that leads on 103 points with 924 Championship leader Alfred Piesinger in second. Jerry Taylor's third from Jayson Flegg, Rick Styrin in 5th position and David Bierman in 6th. The grid for round 5 looks like this, with Dave Clark and Richard Sykes on row 1 from Jerry Taylor and John Bierman, then David Bierman and Rick Styrin. Steve Boyle's on row 4 with Arjo Josh, then Adam Croft and Alfred Piesinger the first row of the 924s. Alistair Kirkham and Guillaume Grochet head Andrew Hannington and Sean Siddle, then Mark McKenzie and Mark Marshall, the grid being completed by Jayson Flegg and Martin Hall. Fine weather, ideal conditions here at Cadwell Park, and a great start by David Clark, although he's outstripped off the line by Richard Sykes, who gets into the lead as they head up towards Coppice for the first time. John Bierman is in third. Here's the view from on board with John Bierman, who gets the better of Rick Styrin as the cars head towards Coppice for the first time. Action as ever in the 924s. Sean Siddle chasing teammate Mark McKenzie for team honours. Cadwell Park provides a challenge for everybody, and a stern challenge this weekend for Arjo Josh, who spins at the top of the mountain section but makes a swift recovery. Very little to separate the brothers Bierman once again, the pair battling ahead of Richard Styrin and Jerry Taylor for third place. Adam Croft has converted 924 pole into 924 lead, but coming under pressure from the white machine of Alistair Kirkham. Styrin and Taylor engaged in a superb battle, but the latter just cannot find a way past for now. Taylor tries the outside line, gets forced onto the grass. That effort negated, but he'll come back to fight again on another lap. Out at the front, Dave Clark still holding sway, having got ahead now of Richard Sykes. But Sykes, the wily Yorkshireman, he's up to anything that can be thrown at him, and he's still trying to find a way through. The 924's Alistair Kirkham now being put under pressure by Alfred Piesinger. Now at the front, the battle continues to rage. Clark versus Sykes. How's it all going to pan out for them? John Bierman leads Rick Styrin and David Bierman there back in 5th position. Jerry Taylor in 6th, but up at the front it was all about to change. Dave Clark runs wide at Park, so wide he gets forced onto the grass. Through for the lead goes Sykes, and through for 2nd position goes John Bierman. Bierman then mounts his own challenge for the lead, but that ends with a rallycross moment at Hall Bends, allowing Clark back into 2nd place. The roles now reversed for the leading pair. Clark was showing that he could challenge Sykes just as vehemently as Sykes had done earlier on. This move at Coppice Corner, however, coming to naught. Clark continues to hound Sykes right the way around the circuit. The pressure continuing all the way. Outside line at Park doesn't quite work. And then it's back marker traffic that comes into play. On the 9th lap, Clark down the inside, bounces into the lead. P1 once again. Clark then started to break away, a couple of lengths lead and an orderly queue forming behind him. David Bierman passes his brother for 3rd position, but then unfortunately spears off into the barriers and ultimately into retirement. Ouch. Well, they say the Design911.com Porsche Championship is a lottery. This week, very clearly, a rollover week. Well, putting the humour to one side, we're of course pleased to report that David was okay. The car very much less so. Thanks again to the marshals as ever for their support. Dave Clark therefore takes his 5th win of the season and remains unbeaten. Clark the winner from Sykes, John Bierman 3rd from Rick Styrin, Jerry Taylor in 5th and Stephen Boyles in 6th place. In the 924s, it was Adam Croft that took the win. Alfred Piesinger up into 2nd place. A podium, an excellent podium for Mark Marshall in 3rd with Mark McKenzie 4th and Sean Siddle in 5th.
Now, I've managed to track down Dave Bierman, who you've not had the best weekends, let's face it, have you?
No, it's not been one to remember, to be fair. Or it has, but for all the wrong reasons.
What happened?
We come off the down the pit straight, or the back straight I should say. Got to the 200-metre marker ball behind Richard Sykes, stood on the brakes and they just weren't there. Pedal literally went to the floor. So it was some form of catastrophic brake failure. My in-car shows me avoiding action, and I skip across the grass sideways and bang, slammed the tyre wall about 60, I think I went in, and then it rolled over with me in it obviously. So quite substantial damage to the car, unfortunately.
Here's the grid for round 6 of the championship. Dave Clark on pole with Richard Sykes alongside, then John Bierman and Rick Styrin on row 2. Jerry Taylor and Steve Boyles on the 3rd row, followed by Guillaume Grochet and Arjo Josh. David Bierman completing the Boxsters. The 924 grid, pole position is Adam Croft with Alfred Piesinger alongside, then it's Mark Marshall and Mark McKenzie on row 2. The grid completed by Sean Siddle and Martin Hall. Little bit of breeze here at Cadwell as we get the green flag from the back of the grid. Pole position then David Clark, Richard Sykes to his outside. Rick Styrin is going to be looking for a decent result in this one too. Away they go, cracking start. Now let's see, here we go on board with John Bierman looking at the lead pair. Now round the outside at Coppice, the left-hander, unusually having pole on the outside because we've got the left-hand corner. There go the 924s, led I think by Alfred Piesinger. He gets away well. But coming out of Charlie's for the first time, leading, it's Richard Sykes from Dave Clark. Dave Clark in 2nd position then once again with the work to do. Down in 3rd place is John Bierman, followed by Rick Styrin. Then it's Jerry Taylor, the red car with the white stripes. Down to Park Corner for the first time. And it is Sykes that leads this one. A cracking scrap between those two in the first race of the day, as Alfred Piesinger in car number 18 does indeed lead from Adam Croft in car number 5 in 2nd position. Then it's Jayson Flegg in 3rd place. We need to keep our eyes open for Alistair Kirkham and Andrew Hannington, who split his sump in qualifying and I think has got it repaired and is out in this race. Well, cars heading up towards the mountain for the first time, and Richard Sykes, the Yorkshireman, comes from Thirsk in North Yorkshire, ex-kartist originally going back, has raced pretty well in Genettas as well, so a very seasoned campaigner as Piesinger continues to come under pressure from Adam Croft with Jayson Flegg in 3rd position. Get a quick look there at Alistair Kirkham, who was running well in the first race of the day, but out of Barn Corner, sorry, out of the hairpin and coming down to Barn Corner where our camera is now, there is Rick Styrin in car number 99 looking to try and close down on a potential podium position, but again, as he did in race 1, he's got Jerry Taylor right behind him, and all the time that Styrin is defensive, he won't be able to get too much of an attack on to try and close down on John Bierman. But having said that, he attacks the corner, goes over the grass, drifts wide, and through on the inside goes Jerry Taylor. Upper position goes Taylor. Well, we're looking at John Bierman running in 3rd place, then it's Jerry Taylor in 4th position, followed by Rick Styrin, then it's Steve Boyles, the 77 car, the black and yellow car, heading along what's termed as Park Straight, but anything but straight if you have a look at it from this angle. So through they all go, and all at the moment safe and sound, with Richard Sykes still leading in the Boxsters. Rick Styrin's got to try and get back into 4th position. Heading down towards the mountain once again. Let's pick up the 924s. Just a quick look there at Jayson Flegg, who is chasing Mark Marshall in the number 2 car. Race leaders, though, coming. This is effectively the back of the pit lane. The climb up the mountain, one of the most spectacular sections of motorsport in the UK. Dave Clark losing out a little bit to Richard Sykes, who seems to be getting away. There is John Bierman in third place. Fourth place in the 16 car, Jerry Taylor, the former Caterham racer, who is running well, still ahead of Rick Styrin. Then Stephen Boyle's in sixth position. David Bierman in his spare car, which is great to have him on circuit. Great that he feels up for racing after that nasty rollover in race one, but he definitely up to the job, and there's actually nothing to beat, is there? Getting straight back in a race car after that kind of thing happens. Back with the 924s. 924 leader now is Adam Croft in car number 5. So Adam Croft leading, Alfred Piesinger in second place. Piesinger, who has been an ever-present on the podium in the 924s this year. And if we look back, Piesinger at Silverstone taking second position in race 1, third position in race 2, back that up with second at Donington in race 1 and a win in race 2, second position here in the first race of the weekend, and that's why he is doing so well in the championship, Alfred Piesinger. So cracking stuff from him, currently in second position and chasing Adam Croft. Is he going to be able to pass Adam Croft for the lead? Well, join us after the break to see what happens.
With so much racing going on in the world, you'd have to be a four-headed monster to keep up with it all. Luckily, we have that. Join Peter Keane, Bill Wood, Errol Tucker, and their guest driver analyst each week for an opinionated look at the news coming out of the racing world. Remember, it's GoRacingTV.com for all your racing and video needs.
Welcome back to Cadwell Park Circuit for round 6 of the Design911.com Porsche Championship, and we were looking momentarily there at the battle for the 924s, the older cars, the classic cars, and in fact we go back to that and it's still Adam Croft leading from Alfred Piesinger, these two running in 10th and 11th positions overall in the race. The race currently led by Richard Sykes up front. The 924 battle, they're running in their own separate grid this weekend. Probably a good safe move from the organising club, the BRSCC, the British Racing and Sports Car Club. If you want to find out more about this racing championship, brscc.co.uk is a very good place to find out about racing in general. As we go back to our lead battle, now Dave Clark, the last time we saw him, was some way down behind Richard Sykes, but he's putting Sykes under a lot of pressure. These two had an absolute humding of a race in race 1, bags of pressure that each applied on each other at different times of the race, and now Dave Clark looking at that outside line again. He got bundled onto the grass there earlier on in the proceedings, but he's not going to take the outside line there. He's still harrying, hoping that the outside will gain him more momentum as they come out of Park, down through Chris Curves, down towards the lowest part on the circuit here. Through they go then, up towards the mountain complex again, and Richard Sykes is coming under huge pressure. Clark takes the outside line, tucks back in. Now up the mountain you can see the 924 runners, just you saw them left of shot there. The circuit double backs on itself. Very, very close indeed. Up the mountain, through Hall Bends they go now. Lap times around here, 1 minute 40 seconds, averaging just under 80 miles per hour. Still John Bierman in third place, you can see in the background, but Dave Clark putting the pressure on up to the hairpin corner. And Sykes hangs on to it. Clark is a little bit frustrated, I think maybe feels he's being held up now. Through Barn Corner they go. This race, a timed race at 20 minutes. So all the drivers guaranteed a fair amount of race time over a weekend in this championship, as we get a challenge on for third place. Jerry Taylor challenging John Bierman. Here we go, on board with John, and there is Jerry Taylor, the ex-Caterham racer, ex-cyclist in his younger days too. He's through the man from Haverhill, goes through into Charlie's Corner and into a podium position. Jerry Taylor up into third place, the man who took second position at Silverstone both races, and indeed both races at Oulton Park, gets himself back up onto the podium. And now Rick Styrin, the man that we saw Taylor pass earlier on in the race, is up and challenging for fourth position. Is he going to be able to deal with John Bierman? And through goes Dave Clark. Dave Clark's through into lead position. Richard Stiles down into second. Third place, Jerry Taylor, the climb up the mountain. Will we see Dave Clark now start to pull away? He's had 5 wins from 5 races so far and has been ever dominant in the Boxsters. He's the absolute master of the Boxsters as we go back to the 924s, and Alfred Piesinger putting pressure now on the lead car, Adam Croft. So car number 5, Adam Croft. We're going to switch back to the Boxsters. Dave Clark then, the 41-year-old from Southampton, starting to pull away from Richard Sykes. Pulls out a car's length or so, more than that now, as they come across the line and head down towards Coppice once again. This is very, very good stuff from Dave Clark, but back to the 2 cars battling it out for the class lead in the 924s. Adam Croft, the 33-year-old from Harrogate, another Yorkshireman of course, entering his 4th season of 924 racing. The car prepared by Victoria Motorsport of Richmond, and off goes car number 10, that's Mark Mackenzie. Well, very, very sadly, we've seen Mark off a few times in our race coverage here, but he will rejoin, relative newcomer to motor racing, as we go back to the Boxsters. And 21, Richard Sykes, still trying to close down on the company director from Southampton, who's David Clark, coming up into some back marker traffic now. The 924s, of course, as I mentioned, starting on a grid of their own. And I think that first car is going to be Mark Mackenzie, who moves clear. And it is Mark Mackenzie, moves clear. Great driving from Mackenzie. Is he going to block the line of Richard Stiles coming up into the mountain? We're just going to have a quick look back down the order. There is Andrew Hannington. Had a busted sump in qualifying. Missed race 1, but up into this race at the moment. I think 5th in class behind Piesinger, Croft, Piesinger, Flegg and Alistair Kirkham. But back we go to the Boxster of Dave Clark. I was starting to talk statistically about Dave Clark. The championship for the Boxsters starting in 2010, and the first race for the Boxsters, first 2 races for the Boxsters being won by Nick Hull from Dave Hughes. Memory served, just a couple of runners in that one, Nick getting the fastest laps as well. And then that was at Cadwell, it was here at Cadwell Park, as through goes Rick Styrin. And then more Boxsters came out for Oulton Park last year, and Dave Clark has pretty much won most of the races since then. Sean Cooper beating him to the flag at Snetterton last year, and Jerry Taylor beating him to the flag at Anglesey last year. But since June 2010, nobody has beaten Dave Clark, and it looks like he's on for potentially another win here. He's also been the master of qualifying with all 3 pole positions so far this year. Through goes Sykes in 2nd place. There is Jerry Taylor in 3rd place. John Bierman still there in 4th position from Rick Styrin. These cars getting up amongst the back marker traffic. Adam Croft here still at the head of the 924s. Alfred Piesinger still giving chase. The 18 car now back with the front runners there, past Sean Siddle in the 11 car goes John Bierman. Rick Styrin follows through as well. Sean Siddle running in 6th position in the 924s, so having a little bit of a lonely race. Down behind him is Martin Hall and Mark Mackenzie, the man we saw have that excursion earlier on in the race. Cadwell Park, long sprawling circuit, tricky circuit. Here we go back with the 924s, and Jayson Flegg is there or thereabouts as well. Flegg, of course, consistent point scorer in the 924s, took a brace of wins at Silverstone, managed to get back on the podium in the 3rd race of the day after problems in the 1st race at Donington Park, and it's pretty much the same here. It looks like he's going to be perhaps back on the podium in this race as well. But Adam Croft in car number 5 coming under a fair bit of pressure at the moment from Alfred Piesinger. The 18 car, the 53-year-old who resides in Poland, Adam Croft. Well, it looks like he's heading to Croft Circuit here. We're based in Lincolnshire. Maybe he wanted to go up to his home circuit, but he managed to recover just in front of Alfred Piesinger. David Clark still on his way and pulling away from Richard Sykes. The gap now out to a couple of seconds, and David Clark heading perhaps for win number 6. Back with the 924s. Adam Croft, you've got to take your hat off to him after that moment on the grass, really hanging on to it through the hairpin. But coming under pressure now in 2nd position is Alfred Piesinger as we go back to the race leader, Dave Clark. Very neat, very tidy. He's really a bit of a Billy No-Mates at the moment on circuit. Up towards the mountain complex, this real steep climb, which is where you can get a superb view of around about just under half the circuit there from the little spectator stand that you can see there. More back marker traffic is beckoning for the race leader. Jerry Taylor will be pleased to have got up into third place. I don't think he can do anything about the leader. There is Adam Croft still leading the 924s from Alfred Piesinger, another Victoria Motorsport prepared car, the man who raced in Indonesia from 1996 until 2002, running in a one-make touring car championship. And there is win number 6 of the season for Dave Clark. Second is Richard Sykes. Jerry Taylor will take third position, but the battle in the 924s looks like it's going to go all the way to the flag, and Alfred Piesinger's coming under big pressure now from Jayson Flegg in third place. Piesinger gets back into line, and this is real good racing from Alfred because he's soaking up the pressure as we get another spin from Mark McKenzie. McKenzie spins, well, almost in front of one of the Boxsters, recovers, gets his head down. Here comes Steve Boyles, who's coming through. Steve Boyles is going to come through in 6th position. And then we look back for the 924s coming through. So up across the line they come. Mark McKenzie recovers, but this is the battle for the 924s. And still hanging on, it is Adam Croft who's going to make it 2 out of 2, but Alfred Piesinger is putting the pressure on big time at the same time as soaking up the pressure from Jayson Flegg, and it looks like Piesinger is going to come away with a retained championship lead, but it's going to be 2 out of 2 here at Cadwell Park for Adam Croft, who crosses the line to take the win. Alfred Piesinger in 2nd place and Jayson Flegg in 3rd position. But today, very much, once again, all about that man there, Dave Clark, with 6 wins out of 6. A perfect weekend for him here at Cadwell Park. Confirmation of Dave Clark's win from Richard Sykes in 2nd, Jerry Taylor 3rd from John Bierman, Rick Styrin 5th, and Steve Boyles comes home in 6th place.
Dave, I'm looking at a little bit of damage on your car there. What's happened?
Well, Richard Sykes came back to join us for the weekend and was a little bit overzealous, I think is the polite way of putting it. He hasn't quite had the pace from qualifying and wanted to make up for it in the race.
Yeah, I was happy with the racing. The car could have been a little bit better, struggling with setup a little. But yeah, it was good, competitive stuff, like it always is.
Got quite aggressive on track there for a while.
It probably looked a bit worse than what it was. You know, it's a tight circuit, so you've got no choice. You know, it's difficult to pass, so you've got to, you know, be a little bit physical.
Yeah, we got the result in the end, just a bit of damage to repair.
Well, sometimes it makes it more fun.
Yeah, at times, yeah.
The 924s saw Adam Croft take 2 wins out of 2 with Alfred Piesinger 2nd, Jayson Flegg 3rd place from Alistair Kirkham, Andrew Hannington recovers from a dismal start to the weekend to take 5th, and Sean Siddle comes home in 6th.
I'm here with Adam Croft. Congratulations, 2 wins. You must be really pleased with that.
Really pleased, yeah. The first 2 wins of the season, one here last year, and then so to get pole and then the 2 wins here is fantastic. Really pleased with it.
It's a proper circuit though, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It's a good test of driver and car.
Alfred, race 2, that was a lot more like it there, wasn't it? 2nd place.
Fantastic, wasn't it? Yeah. Did you enjoy it?
I did, absolutely. Not as much as you though.
Well, he defended fantastically. I mean, you saw it. Adam, I was on his tail, I think 90% of the race, but he kept the line, kept the nerves and won it.
Here's how the leaderboard looks after 6 rounds of the championship. Dave Clark leads overall and the Boxsters, with Alfred Piesinger, 924 leader, in 2nd place. Jerry Taylor's 3rd from Adam Croft, then it's Rick Styrin in 5th position, and 2nd in the 924s is Jayson Flegg. Join us next time when we'll be racing at Oulton Park.